Well, hello people, so it's Peter here, down in the man shed for the first video of 2023. Yes indeed. It's Tuesday afternoon, it's 4 o'clock, outside is a bit wet and breezy, but the consequences of that is that it's not freezing, it's not cold. It's about, you know, it's up in the double figures. And in actual fact, over Christmas, I treated myself to the old thermometer, you know, temperature thing, you know, to see exactly what temperatures I have got down here in the old shed, because below a certain level, as I said in my last video before Christmas, with your controller, you know, with your control equipment getting very, very cold, and they don't recommend using it when it's very, very cold. You know, I don't come down here, if this is sort of saying 5 degrees, then I won't turn the stuff on, alright, because that is a bit too cold. However, it is telling me it's 14 degrees in the shed. And so brilliant. I mean, that's I haven't got the heater on. I've not put the heater on whatsoever. I've been in down here for about half an hour, and I suppose my own body heat, a nice, you know, wooden shed and everything, it's all cozy, I guess. So fine, you know, so here I am. So what am I doing? Well, I've come down here to paint some figures up. In the little figures that you get in my case, the Bachmann Class 66s, where I've replaced them with the aftermarket figures that you can get from West Hill Wagon Works when they were available, or there's a couple of other sort of 3D Model U or something like that, you know, somebody else. They were rather nicely painted figures over and above the Bachmann figures, and so I replaced the Bachmann figures. They come out all right. However, I'm a modeller, so looking at the figures that come out the Bachmann of the 66s, for some reason or other, they've all been, you know, they're all painted in one colour, and they're all wearing a peaked hat for some reason or other, you know, because I think they're HO drivers, you know, they're more, you probably would find quite acceptable on a European locomotive if they wear a peaked hat. So, a little bit of filing, get rid of the peaked hat, give them a, you know, give them a skull shape head, and then a coat of paint for a lack of hair, and I'll show you in a second what I've been doing, because I've been painting them up, give them a day glow orange jacket, you know, high visibility jacket, and I've still got to do a couple of other bits and pieces, so I'll show you how I'm getting on with that. And the reason why I painted the figures is because I needed a driver figure, and I didn't have one until I painted one up. And why I needed a driver figure is because it's a Christmas present to myself, which is a new loco. Alright, so Torridon Road has got a new loco running around at the beginning of 2023. And what one is it? It's the Dapol 59. Yes, you know, brilliant. I've seen the reviews and all the rest of it. A guy bought up the Yeoman one to the model club on a Thursday night when we was there. So I was able to get my hands on and have a little look at it, and that really clinched the deal. But by the time I did get round, you know, got my backside in gear, all the Yeomans, be it I think they're DC ready, DC fitted with smoke generator, DC fitted with smoke generator and sound. Well, they had all sold out of the Yeoman livery. However, my lovely little model shop, which is local to me, not that local but near enough, it's in Sidcup, is Invicta Model Railways, alright, and Kerry runs that, and she had still some of the 59s there, the other liveries, the ARC, and the one I picked up was the DB Schenker. Alright, so yes, it looks just like a DB Schenkered 66, except for the light issue and you know, some other little differences, but still. So she had one, fantastic price, the best price out of everywhere. I was over the moon, and then I'll get an extra discount because she, you know, she knows the Beckenham and West Wickham Model Railway Club, so we get a little bit more discount if we go and buy our stuff from her as well. But I didn't want to pay. I didn't want to accept the discount because she was already cheaper than anywhere else I found before, and you know, she's a small shop, and I want her to be successful, you know, and because I've been able to go there to get stuff, you know, I can see it there and there. I examined the thing straight away and knew that everything was fine, and that's been a long time since I've been able to do that. And as it happens, Kerry and even Greg from the Model Railway Club, my chairman, they were old hands back in the day of Model Zone. You know, they worked in the old Model Zone shops. Good old days, yeah. And so when that all failed, Kerry and her husband, they started up Invicta Model Railways at Sidcup. So yeah, so I support my local model railway shop, because they're only, you know, they're 10 minutes by train up the road. I'll get on the train at Evergreen and go up to Sidcup, and it's right by Sidcup station, so it's fantastic. So yeah, so that's great. So I'll show you the model. It's fitted with Richards from Roads and Rails sound chip, together with 2 mega bass speakers, certain 2, and Richard done all that. I mean, when you order the speaker, when you order the sound chip, you select what speaker you want from the drop down list, and I wanted the 2 speakers side by side. Richard's done all that. He's wired, you know, when I got the chip, it was all wired up, ready to go. The speakers were wired to the decoder in the correct fashion, in the parallel wiring fashion, and all I had to do was take the old blanking chip out of the loco, put the new one in, bit of black tack underneath the speakers, and up and running. And wow, what a sound! It's you know, you'll hear it. And because it's an ESU 5, it's got the what do you call it, a drive hold, and I'll put it on the video. I'll demonstrate the drive hold. I've got it sort of like screaming before it pulls away a stone train, and my gosh, does it work effectively. So yeah, you'll see that on the video. I'll put that on. And loud, well, I know I can adjust the volume if I want to, but no, I'm living with it at the moment. But it does all the functions that I wanted to do. You got the you can have a daytime running light, so that, yeah, the lights come on with their marker lights, and a daytime running light, or you can switch it to the nighttime running light. In both cases it'll have the marker lights going. Okay, so it doesn't have a yard mode where you'd have the lights on at both ends. No, it doesn't have that. The other thing, but what it can do, you can have it running as a light loco, so you've got the white light at the front, red lights at the back. But if it's going to be pulling a train, you can turn off the red lights at the back. Okay, cab light obviously comes on depending which direction of travel it's going, and that goes out as soon as the loco moves. That's all configured. There's a hissing, you know, sort of like a I don't know what hiss it is, but you know, there's all these random noises as well that play as it goes along. And yeah, so it does everything that I wanted to do. Now the reason why I want to tell you about this model is because I've been seeing some videos, and mine displayed this issue when I first got it out and tried it under DC. Now I've got my old faithful, let's get it out. Look at that, this is about 50 years old, isn't it? This old, there we are. Look at that. Hey, was it? It's a clipper. So that's your 12-volt thing, but I mean, she's about 50 years old. But nevertheless, it still works. So under DC, I put the loco on a rolling road because I didn't have the chip at the time, the sound chip at the time. So I thought, well, let's just check it out. And I put it on a rolling road to run in a little bit, because I've seen some videos on YouTube. One said how noisy it was, and another one had flickering lights. And that's exactly what I got with my one. Under DC, you know, you don't get the lights come on until you put a bit of power into the track, and then the lights start, you know, which is why, you know, I'm so happy to be got away from the DC and going into DCC. You know, that's what I wanted to improve on. So anyway, this model, to begin with, the lights don't come on, then you increase the power, and then the lights come on, and then the lights were flickering. And then a little bit more, and then they were all on properly, and they stayed on. And no matter, you know, there's nothing you can do. That's what happens in both directions. Maybe my controller, I don't know, being it's an old controller, it's absolutely, you know, it is the technology of the 50 years ago. I know you can get some DC controllers that have some extra function that helps with the motor or something, I don't know. But whatever it was, but it wasn't noisy. But it did have this flickering issue, which 2 YouTubers had pointed out. And that would have driven me up the bloody wall to sort of have that. You know, every time you start accelerating away, lights, and then lights flickering, and then lights. No, you know. But I thought to myself, well, I know that's probably going to happen under DC. but I don't think that happened. And from what I could see on Richard's videos that he puts on when he's done his sound programs and everything, there didn't seem to be any issues, you know. So I thought, well, I don't think there'd be any issues running under DCC, and sure enough, there isn't. All right, so you know, that was when he sent the chip in. As I said, it was all wired up. All I had to do was get the blanking plate out, put the new chip in, and straight away everything. You didn't even. I messaged Richard. I said, it's got all these dip switches on the top. Richard, do I need to adjust them? Because you know, in the paperwork, there's quite a lot of things to do as regards how you set up the dip switches. He said, no, you know, leave it as it comes, you know, out of the box. You just put the decoder in, and you don't touch those switches whatsoever. And instead, you know, the F functions on your programmer will do the lights, and that's exactly what's happened. And no flickering of lights. It runs silently. It runs faultlessly. It's got these rotating axle boxes, but whether or not they examined what happened with Hattons or something or other, they're totally different design. The axle is longer than the Hattons axle, so therefore the little axle hubs, although they're smaller, they fit nicely on the end of this axle, so there's no chance of oscillating or anything. They fit nicely on the end. There's a little bit of movement obviously allowed to go around the track. And yeah, been as good as gold. No problems with it whatsoever. No problems with the loco whatsoever. Body removal is a cinch, just the 4 clips. The handrails, that was such a faff on the Hattons 66. Otherwise the Hattons bodies would be easy to take off, but they had these handrails. On this model, the handrails stay with the chassis. All right, you know, it all comes together when everything's, you know, in place, but there's no handrails to get in the way. They're already fixed to the chassis anyway. So just 4 clips, body comes off as easy as anything. Fit a driver, easy peasy again. Just you know, a clip on either side into the glazing that's either side of the cab, and the whole cab assembly falls down, including the interior light. It's fitted over the top of the seats and everything, you know, so it all fell down quite nicely. Bit of a doddle just to put the driver in, snap it back into place within seconds. Once the chip was back in, tidy up the wiring, body snapped back on place. That's it, and I've been running it ever since, and it is fantastic. So, and also looking at the box, at the end it says on here that's radius 1. That these things can run on radius 1, believe it or not. So this big old, you know, big old, what's 59, can run on radius 1 curves, which is, but I'm running it on radius 3 or radius 2 at a pinch, so that's fine, you know. But blimey, you know, it's amazed to find it would run round. I don't think it would look very good because the, you know, big axles, the big bogies sticking out from underneath the body, you know, at a tortuous angle going around a radius 1. I don't think it would look very attractive, so it's never going to happen with me. It's always going to be 2 or radius 3 more likely. And then I'll show you that. And also on the instructions, looking at it again, I've told you the different 3 versions that there are. Well, they've all seemed to be fitted with a smoke generator. And now I've never used a smoke generator in my life, so you know, when I took the body shell off, there was this component sitting there at one end underneath the exhaust, which I can only take it as being the smoke generator, even though this model won't run it. But interesting is that it's got a little diagram there. I don't know if you can see it on the switches, and it tells you about the dip switches that I said I don't have to alter. But nevertheless, there is a diagram indicating what the dip switches are. And there's a tiny little one, separate one, which says if you don't want to operate the smoke generator at all, so not even from your controller, you can turn that switch so it's off dead completely. But on my loco, that switch is not there. So you think, oh, so that's a bit interesting. It seems, so not only is there like 3 versions, DC fitted with a smoke generator, DC sound and a smoke, or DCC ready, it looks like they've used 2 PCB boards as well, I guess. All I know is that the drawing there says there is this switch, but on my loco there is no switch. So you know, and nothing in my functions in order to operate a smoke generator, even if I wanted to. So a bit interesting. So there we are, guys. So I'll that's enough of me waffle. I'll show you my little figures that I'm painting up, and then I'll show you. I've got it running around at the moment. That's what you can, you know, we ain't got sand on obviously, but I've got her running around together with the 268s. So it's a Dapol running session at the moment. 268s running around together with the 59. But I'll take you off camera now, or I'll swing you around, show you my little figures I'm painting up, and I've already put the figure in the 59, and then we'll look at the 59 and turn the sound on and everything. So alright, so that's what we do. So yeah, here we are in the new year anyway, first video. So I hope it all went well for you, Christmas and the new year, and looking forward to receiving me Mark 5 coaches soon, it seems, from Acura scale, and then after that shortly, it seems, going to be very expensive. You know, the 37s that are coming out, so it seems that they'll all be coming through. Until then, that's the end of this video, and I'll just show you the 59 and just show you me little people. Alright, so let's do that. Okay, so until next time, bye for now. Alright guys, take care, be careful, bye bye. Right, so here we are, just to show you the paperwork for the 59. So there's in the instructions, there you are, there's this little switch that they're calling SW1, and in the instructions that tells you that it powers the smoke generator, turns it on or off, so you don't have to worry about you know, forgetting to do it in your controller. These other ones, they do all other sort of like light functions, but as I said, Richard at Roads and Rails, he said leave them as they come from in the box. Alright, so on my PCB board I haven't even got this switch. Okay, and just a little bit of interest, Susanna, who showed you fitting a decoder into 59, she did say, oh, you can't put such and such a chip into it because there is a component on the circuit board that gets in the way. Susanna, I can tell you quite happily, it doesn't get in the way. Yes, you know, this component looks like it's well, I don't know what it is, a transistor or something or other. It's right alongside where the your sound chip fits in. Doesn't interfere where the decoder, you know, plugs in, but it does run up alongside where the decoder would fit. But it does fit, Susanna. So if I know you've only DCC fitted your one, but if you want to put a sound chip at later, believe me, there's got no problems. It will fit on. Right, so that's that. So now look, I'll just take that away and just pan you up a little bit. There's my little figures. All right, I'm in the process of painting them up at the moment. So they don't look great when you zoom in on them, obviously, because you know they're only what they are. There's no detail as such. What I've got to do with these three now is paint the little white high vis. So they're wearing their orange reflective jackets, but they need the little high vis stripe pipe work on them that I've done on those two, and I've yet to do on these three. But there you are. See the head taken off whatever peaked hat or something that or other they was wearing. And I just painted them black. Those two have got brown haircuts. All these guys have got three. It doesn't really matter because once they're in the cab, it doesn't show up that badly. But at least they are better than the figures that come as standard from the Bachmann factory. And that's it. And Anthony Dodge, no figures were harmed in the making of this film. All right, I didn't decapitate them. They were already decapitated. All right, their legs were already amputated. I didn't do any of that. So you can't blame me. Right, that's it. Let's have a look at trains running. I just want to show you guys that it comes with a kinematic coupling, but I've replaced that with the Hunt coupling already, and I will just keep you looking at the first of all, we'll push it back just to show you that it gives no trouble whatsoever with the Hunt couplings. You think it's going to catch on this buckeye, but you can see what happens when she goes into the straight. That's how close they are. Alright, so that's not bad, is it? And what I've done at this end is I've put all the detail parts with the air dam, but I've actually used the coupling hook that you can get from Hornby. So I didn't use the plastic one that comes with the kit. I've actually used a nice little metal coupling hook together with its drop down links, so it looks a lot better, to be honest. No lights on, as you can see, because I've got it in the other direction, so the cab lights and everything's gone off. As soon as I change direction, yeah, cab light, you see, all comes on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back now to the back of the loco to see how this kinematic coupling with a Hunt coupling is working very well with this rate of IOA wagons. So there it is, it's opened up a bit because it's now pulling. The engine sound is brilliant. And there we are, see how it goes to one side, but there's nothing wrong with the coupling. And now the coupling will begin, and you see that the buffers, they're not touching. They will stay like that and they go round all the way. What I will do is I'll make it go round there, so you know it's going round a curve. But I'm now going to stop it, and I'm going to make it run in reverse. Bring it back. So I don't know what it's like with tension lock couplings, but with my Hunts, which obviously I love to death, you will see that it doesn't give no issue whatsoever coming round a curve and straightening it up. You think yourself, oh, it's going to have buffer lock because it was so close. Here we are. You think, oh, you're going to get buffer lock. No, you don't. Alright, how was that for a demonstration? So she'll now happily go backwards. There you are. Proof is in the pudding. So round the curves there underneath the estate, coming round the back there, no issues whatsoever. Straightens up, doesn't buffer lock. There's the end of the coming round now. Oh, buffer lock. No. Oh dear. I'll stop it. You saw you can see the figure in the cab. I mean, you've got a cab light, so the worst thing about a cab light, if you put the cab light on, it shows you haven't got a driver. But as you know, everything takes a part. And there we are, lovely sound file, really good. It really sounds like a powerful engine doing its job. So what I'll do is I'll put just a clip of the engine starting up and putting away under with the drive hold, so it really does thrash it. There's a cracking engine sound, really good. And of course I'll turn the lights off on the back of the loco because there's an end of train lamp on the back of the train itself, as it should be, and no coupling note. Right guys, sorry, I thought I'd go back, I thought I'd show you this before we called it a day. The body removal, make sure you've taken off the air dams, alright, so there's nothing to get in the way. That's what she looks like. There's the dip switches, but there is no other dip switch, as I told you. So if this is a smoke generator, it's not going to work at all because it's not getting any power. If this is a different PCB board to what's fitted to the others. And for Susanna, there you are, the old Loxan 5. That's the component you was worried about, thinking that it wouldn't fit, because that's, but that, as you can see, it fits nicely right alongside it. It does not interfere with the chip whatsoever. Okay, 2 speakers, Richard wired up, all ready for me. Just tidy up the wires, just make sure that they go underneath the body. That's that. Here's the body itself with the driver figure, the clips. There's the cab. So there's the cab. This is the LED, the contact for the LED. The cab fits in by just got to tease out the lug that side, and hopefully I can tease out the lug on this side, and there you have the cab pulls out. Alright, so easy peasy. So there's the little control board, and then of course you can fit a driver. He's been black tacked in, and there you are. And so that's it. So it's just a little clip there, little clip on the other side. That's what she looks like when you take it out. Nothing there, doesn't get in the harm at all. Alright, right, I'm going to put it back. Right, there she is, driver. It's all been put back, easy peasy lemon squeezy. As I say, just a little clip either side, snaps back in nicely. You put it underneath the light tunnels, and then she goes back in nicely. There's the front detail bit. As I said to you, I'd use the, you know, it comes with a little plastic coupling, but I'll put actually a Hornby hook in there. Fits in easy as anything. Nothing needed to change it. It goes in. Now, this is quite funny. I'll show you this now. The doors, they open. Did you know that? Yeah? So there they are. So there's all the mechanism inside showing you how the doors open. But I'll show you something or other when I put this back on the loco. So bear with me whilst I just put this back. That's it. Back on again, because it's only clips. But now the doors, guys, they open just a little bit, because they're hitting the chassis. You know, they're actually hitting the body inside, because it's a big die-cast chassis inside, isn't it? Alright. The other nice thing with this model is that the air dams, they just, you know, there's no gluing needed. They fit. I'm just going to try and do it. I've got the camera going. This is making it awkward, but there you go. Just, they fit. They push fit, and they go on nicely. And there's then the same with the back. One at the back, because that's got the coupling going through it, but it's the same thing again. Right, that really is it then, guys. Okay, so you've seen it all now. I've done it on camera for you. So there we are. It's a cracking model. Really, really happy with it. That's it. Bye-bye, people. Bye for now. Bye-bye.